What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for 86. This is episode 22, the long-awaited episode 22, I guess you could say, because of how delayed it was. But yeah, with me as always, I have Loose Fate.
Yeah, like plagued with production issues over the ever since tech like it's just like the 3 episodes prior to this have been dealt with like massive amounts of production issues. It's just like we would need to wait like
I mean, I guess at least you could say they had longer to, work on this one, considering how delayed it
yeah,
was.
it's just like we would have to wait like
I mean, you can kind of tell when you watch it as well. Like, I mean, it's one of the better looking episodes. Like, I think I've seen so
obviously
far.
they had enough time to work on this after like what 3 months already. So I'm glad they've finally been given the time to finish this up, including the next episode, which is going to be the finale for the season. Though it remains.
Yeah, I was wondering, is it 23 episodes?
Yeah,
because
next week is the final
okay.
episode of the season. So,
Okay.
but we have to wonder what the future of the show is going to be like. I'm pretty sure it's possible we might get another season, but what I'm hoping is they don't deal with like these ridiculous production issues like they did like just these last 3 months ago.
Yeah, I just remember like when I was hearing about it, they were saying that I guess Aniplex is kind of to blame for that. Like they were kind of pushing them to put out the episodes pretty fast. And apparently it was much worse than we thought it was. I guess they were I guess they wanted it to start like a month before it actually did.
Yeah, it's not just this part of the season, but all the way back when the show first started is when supposedly that's like where the problem started. I mean,
it's pretty incredible that they managed to put out a show. Like, I mean, in terms of when you think about the quality of how everything looks and all that, like, it's crazy that it managed to look so good even with the tight production schedule.
Yeah, but unfortunately it just seems like the problems that they were facing finally caught up with them 3 months ago after we literally had to like wait about every couple weeks just to watch a new episode, which was ridiculous. But yeah, so here we are finally 3 months later. We're finally getting the last 2 episodes of the season. So we pick up after that massive cliffhanger at the last episode back in December, where Shin is supposedly caught in a self-destruct blast by Kiri, but Shin manages to get away from that somehow, and he's
apparently the blast just kind of knocked his mech back somewhat, I guess, instead of just completely blowing him up.
And then it pretty much knocks him out cold for the time being, and then he has this vivid nightmare in which he's just he's just dealing with with the loss of all of his comrades and dealing with survivor's guilt and such, and he feels like that he deserves to die at this point, that he's been fighting for all his life, including dealing with the trauma with his older brother strangling him, and then dealing with fighting in the war that he was forced into by Magnolia, and then of course him being forced to kill his comrades just to not be assimilated by the Legion, and of course it's pretty symbolic when you look at this sequence when he's just literally trying to deal with this. Prior episodes, you see him just fighting with just this weird smile every single time, but in this one you just see him literally up to his breaking point, where he just doesn't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, he definitely felt more vulnerable than he usually is, where it seems like he kind of just usually it seems like he's the kind of character that has everything figured out, and he's pretty on top of everything. But it's like in this episode we kind of see that that's not really the case. It seems like it's more, if anything, sometimes it seems like it's more of a front he puts on just to kind of hide how he might really be feeling. And I like how psychological, like, with him kind of seeing all his dead comrades and also seeing, I forget that one character's name, but the that one guy that he had to like mercy kill, that had like a sister. Um, I thought that was pretty interesting how it kind of just delves into his how just his just his mind essentially with that nightmare he was having, and like he's just kind of just completely breaking down at this point. And it's kind of just, I mean, we've seen him like this before, but not really to this extent. It feels like, he's more disappointed that he wasn't actually killed by the blast, I guess, and that he was, he got out of it. Because like, yeah, he pretty much says that he's pretty like every time he goes into battle, I guess he's hoping to die or something. So it gets pretty dark, with,
Yeah. So as soon as he wakes up, he notices there's a Legion unit approaching him with the obvious intent of assimilating him. But then, like at the last minute, he's saved by Lena, who arrives in the scene. I don't know if it's like if she was the one who took out that Legion unit, or if it was Cyclops who took it out. But
I can't remember actually. Like I think it might have been Cyclops. I can't say for sure.
But yeah, eventually, this is the moment that the fans of the show have been waiting for, was for Lena and Shin to finally meet in the same place. So technically, they don't really see each other, and Lena has no idea that the person driving that unit is Shin himself.
Yeah, at first I was a little bit disappointed because they don't, because the opening definitely hints at this, but like you said, they don't actually end up seeing each other face to face, and Elena doesn't know that it's actually Shin in the mech. But it kind of makes sense, like, once Shin explains that, I guess technically, basically, like the time wasn't right for them to actually like physically meet each other in person.
Yeah, you mentioned that like that this was not the right time for Lena and himself to really physically see each other at this point, right? Yeah. So he asks Lena what motivates her to continue fighting, and she responds that that her experiences of her being the handler of Spearhead Squadron inspired her, and she wants to survive so she can catch up with Shin and the others. But of course, I think you mentioned a little bit earlier that it's Shin that wants to catch up with her at the same time. But at first, so it gets to the point where Shin is about to exit his unit for them to meet properly. But I think the Federacy reinforcements. I don't know. Actually, what happens is like the Legion units were about to launch another attack, but the Federacy reinforcements finally arrived to fend them off, and then pretty much helping to extract Shin from the battlefield, as well as like taking Lena and of course Cyclops with her.
Yeah. I also want to mention that when Lena first shows up, I kind of like how the field like turns into like all these red flowers. That was kind of interesting, interesting, and also how like it seems like it has like there's like this like it almost seems like a widescreen aspect ratio, and it kind of like slowly disappears too. I thought that was an interesting touch.
They've been doing that a lot in this episode. I've noticed with.
There's a lot of really good directing, I think, with a lot of these. I mean, like that's kind of been the case for like the whole series so far. And I think I heard somewhere that the person directing the series, like, as it said, like it was one of his the first time he's directed anything. And I mean, that's really impressive if that's the case, because like everything, like with the way the show's been directed has been like probably one of the best parts about it, honestly.
Yeah, I thought this was very well done and animated. It probably because they had time to work on this episode for the last 3 months, I'm guessing. But yeah, you can clearly tell like a lot of the work they've done has really paid off in this episode.
Yeah. And And also we learned about what happened to Frederica as well. I think in the last episode it seemed like she was also caught up in the blast. But apparently Kiri saved her before she could be killed by the explosion.
Yeah. But yeah, we also find out that all of other of Shin's other friends have managed to survive the battle after they've been separated in the last episode. So Frederica and Shin, of course, discuss like what happened during the conversation between him and Lena while she is being escorted back to the Republic, and of course we also see Ernst. I think what was it, President Ernst, stating that that he's gonna organize a rescue mission to help any remaining survivors. Possibly, what happened to the Republic when. If you remember what happened, like Lena was trying to defend her home country before it got overwhelmed by the Legion.
Yeah. Yeah, and then of course it's pretty much the remainder of the episode is just showing the the aftermath of the operation, and Shin kind of meeting up again with everybody else. And I was actually surprised. Like it really felt like this was the last episode, but I was kind of surprised to find there actually is going to be one more. I forgot. Like when I watched this, I forgot exactly. Like I thought it was going to be like 24 or something, 24 episodes, but I guess it's going to be 23. So I guess the next episode might be more so. I guess more like an epilogue to this arc in particular.
Yeah. The next episode is titled Handler 1, which is of course Lena's title. So it makes sense for them to. I don't know. Like it's possible that they might bring us back to Lena's perspective, or if it's gonna or might finally show us Lena and Shin seeing each other physically for the first time. But we won't.
I think it's more likely they're going to show. I think it's more likely they're going to show things from Lena's perspective, because that is one of the things we've kind of criticized for this part of the season, is that they really haven't shown us much of what's going on with Lena and also her new squad. So I think they'll probably just kind of maybe show us that perspective. Because like really I feel like we've been with Shin for most of this half of the season. So I think it'd be nice to actually see what Lena's up to.
It's like the first half of the show was mainly it shift a lot of like focus between Shin and Lena from time to time, showing like what Lena was doing at the same time of what Shin was doing. So but it's kind of like it kind of shift to a different perspective when this part of the season just mainly focused on Shin, and then just shifted Lena to the wayside.
I think it was a little bit necessary to develop Shin's character a little bit more though. But I also would have liked to have seen what happened with Lena in terms of her character development, because it seems like that kind of happened off screen with the beginning of this half of the season, with her like dyeing that one strand of her hair red, and some other things that might have happened with her that we didn't really get to see. So I'm kind of hoping they might go over that.
We are of course we're treated with like a post-credit scene, mainly a credits sequence of sorts, in which we see Shin heading back to the briefing room, and of course Graith embarrassing Shin by replaying the conversation that he had with Lena, and Shin's friends are happy that Lena survived, and of course I guess you could say like they have a newfound respect for her after what she's went through, compared to how they treated her as just like as nothing but a white pig that doesn't care for them.
Right. Yeah. But that's pretty much where the episode ends. Like I thought it was a really good episode, and you can definitely tell that a lot of work went into it in terms of its visuals and all that. So I mean, in a way, I guess the delay was a little bit beneficial for them, maybe polishing up the episode a little bit more. So yeah, hopefully we get something of similar quality with the last episode for the season. And hopefully we also maybe get either a hint or an announcement of potentially maybe another season sometime. sometime down the line, but hopefully without all the production issues that they face with this one. I would definitely want them to make another one, but without all the the ridiculously tight production schedule. But apparently that's mostly because of Aniplex. So hopefully they they don't do that if they ever do another season, because I definitely feel like if they did, we'd probably just have a repeat of what happened with this season, where it would just be a lot of episode delays and all that. So hopefully, if we did, like I said, if we do get another season, I'm hoping that the same thing doesn't happen with that. But yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to say about the episode.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the wait after these last 3 months, and I'm kind of glad that we did have to wait just to see how visually impressive this episode was compared to what we had to deal with last December, when they had to delay it within like several weeks of each other.
Yeah, it was getting more and more ridiculous as it went on. Like, it'd be like a week delay. Sometimes it'd almost be like a 2-week delay, I think. So it was getting pretty ridiculous. So I and then of course, like, it ends up being months of a delay for this episode. And especially when they're like right near the end, like they only had 2 more episodes. So, but yeah, I guess it's probably for the best that happened. But yeah, that all being said, I guess until next time, until the last episode comes out, we will see you all later.